Hello, my name is Stuart, and we are going to be talking about chronology today, specifically about looking at history as a chronological narrative. This builds on what we learned in Year 1 and 2, and hopefully you can remember. We've got 3 questions to guide us. We're going to start with, what is a chronological narrative? How are the timelines we'll use different? And then, what does the narrative show? Hopefully, from Key Stage 1, you can remember this. We describe the past as either being within living memory or beyond it. Can you remember what they mean? Within living memory is something that happened during the last 100 years or so. It means there are people alive today that were alive when it happened. Beyond living memory is further in the past, and no one is alive from when it happened. We'd start from now and count back in time to look at what already happened. Each of these squares represents a duration of a decade, that's about 10 years. Beyond living memory has a much longer duration than within living memory. Let's have a look at how the timelines we'll use change in Key Stage 2. We still have a scale, but it's organised differently. You'll notice the scale is numbered. Here is year 0, apart from there is actually a problem. There is no year 0. Because of how we count time, we start from the year 1. The blue squares are what is called AD. This means Anno Domini and is Latin for in the year of our Lord. It's every year after Christians believe Jesus was born. Everything before this is BC. This means before Christ and counts the years before Christians believe Jesus was born. Take a minute. Can you think of any differences between the Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 timelines? Here is our chronological narrative. In this case, it's for British history in Key Stage 2, and you might recognise some of the names. Now, we will learn about periods of history. A period of history is a duration of time linked with a certain event, person, or something that runs throughout. Are they all the same duration? Not even close. On this timeline, you can see part of the narrative of British history. But this isn't the full narrative of British history. Oh no, that starts much earlier and continues all the way through to now. Today, we are going to focus on the start of the narrative. The earliest periods are known as prehistory. By the way, did you notice the scale had changed on the timeline? The scale is always something to look at before you start studying the information the timelines present. So, what's the first thing to look at? Hopefully you said the scale. This time we are focusing on BC, and it extends much further into the past than the previous timelines did. Now, I'm going to talk you through a bit of the narrative. Here you can see some of the Paleolithic, but this is a tiny fraction of its total duration. It's the longest by far, and to accurately show it to you, my screen would need to be several hundred meters wide. During this period, people lived a nomadic lifestyle as hunter-gatherers. The Mesolithic is next. A much shorter duration, but it is the second longest. At this time, humans still lived a hunter-gatherer lifestyle, but the use of tools had changed to be smaller and more refined. Then, the Neolithic Revolution occurs. This is a big step. During this time, people begin to farm and settle in one place. Sound normal? It might be today, but this was huge when it happened. Here is the Bronze Age. Any guesses what people started to use during the Bronze Age? A metal called, well, bronze. Farming, which began in the Neolithic, continued, and metal tools made it easier. Settlements grew in size too. During the Iron Age, people used Iron, another metal. We use iron a lot today. You can probably see some in your classroom. Iron was much easier to work with than bronze, so even though it was softer, ultimately became used more often. During this period, there were tribes in Britain which were bigger and more complex settlements than had previously been the case. So, what did I just do? I talked through a very simple version of the narrative of this part of British history. Is it the complete narrative? Not even close. I just chose a couple of key elements to emphasise to you. This is certain parts of the story of how people lived at this time. Let's have a think about some top tips that we can remember when we're working with our Key Stage 2 timelines. Number 1, what is the timeline scale? It's really important we start by looking at what the scale is, because that allows us to understand what the duration of time we're considering is. We can have a scale of pretty much anything, so that's a great start point. Number 2, where is this period of history in relation to the others we have learned about? This is important because remember, history is a narrative. The periods of history fit together to form that overall story of the past. And number 3, what is the duration of this period itself? We've got the longest period of history, the Paleolithic, which is huge, all the way through to much shorter periods of time that you might study as you go through school. If we remember these 3 questions, it will help us to create that narrative in our head and see history with that important sense of story. So, what have we learned? See if you can answer my 3 questions. Question number 1. What do the 2 colours on our scale show? And I'll give you a hand. There was green and there was blue. Here's your answer. We had BC and AD, so that's how our Key Stage 2 timelines are put together. AD is Latin for in the year of our Lord, and BC is before Christ. So we can look at those letters around the numbers to think about when in the past that happened. Question number 2. All periods of history have the same duration, true or false? Definitely false. We've got all the way from the huge to the quite small. And last but not least, question number 3. Which period of history is the earliest on our narrative? The Roman, the Paleolithic, the Neolithic, or the Bronze Age? The earliest is the Paleolithic. That's the earliest part of human history. Hopefully that all makes sense. Thanks for watching. It'd be great if you could give the video a like and the channel a subscribe. Hopefully I will talk to you again soon. Bye.